So the next speakers are from Binumi, Mr. Anthony Copping and Johan. This is a very interesting content company, probably a world's first. I discovered them about 3 months ago, so we flew them down from Bangkok to give you a special presentation. A big round of applause to Binumi.
Hi, and thank you for having me. And we're very appreciative of Ham, who told us that we should get into this space sooner rather than later. I don't know if anyone knows of Binumi, but it's an educational video platform. And I'm just going to show you some things, just so you get a feeling of where I come from. I'm a bit of a crazy guy. And so I just want to show you my TV background really quickly. This is definitely my favorite place on earth. My name is Anthony Copping. I'm an adventurer. This is the maddest thing I've ever done. But not a thrill seeker. One mistake by one of these guys and we're going to go over. I'm an explorer. Can't believe we've come all this way and we've been stopped. But not a scientist. What is that? I'm driven by a passion. 1.5 hours from now we'll be in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Which can get me into trouble. He wants to kill us and he's got his spears out. What happens if you don't have the money? They attack us, they rob us. So for what would I risk my life? Just get the hell out of here.
Someone might die.
What pushes me to the edge? Music. Secret music. Endangered music. There's been a missionary death, so it's gone. Music from another world. Now asking for something is very difficult for him to do. This is my passion.
This place very dangerous area.
What was that? My adventure. I hit something, maybe a crocodile. My search for the last voices from heaven. Okay, so you're thinking, why are you watching that? What I fell in love with was stories. Okay, so stories. And I used to go into the jungle, and I did it myself. I funded it for many years, and I created a collection of stories and music, especially in the South Pacific region, that's unrivaled. Okay, and I commercialized it. I turned it into one of the biggest commercial projects in Europe on the Pacific in history. And what that led me to was understanding that humans need to talk, and they need to share stories, and they need to conversate. So one of the things that I really discovered during that process was young people started to get really bored of this type of documentary making. Okay, so this was aired on National Geographic, and the demographic of National Geographic just started going up and up and up, and basically the younger people were just selfing, you know, and doing everything other than watching information about culture and history, and it became a real concern for me. So I was often asked to take reality TV stars into the jungle, take Big Brother in there, and I never did it. It was a big mistake actually financially, but I should have done it. But what I did do was go and talk to schools. And what I found was really interesting, that when I played a video to students, they really weren't that interested. Okay? But when I let them interact with the video or start to tell their stories of what they thought the video was, it became an amazing reaction. So I decided, maybe about 6 years ago, I was in New York, and I decided, wouldn't it be fantastic if a young child could make a video story of anywhere in the world with nothing other than Wi-Fi, no powerful computer, no video footage, no camera, no experience, just telling stories. And that's what we've done. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly, just to start this off, and I will bring it back to your sector in a minute. I just want to show you what these 2 8-year-old boys made with our platform in Wales. They'd never been outside Wales in the UK. And they made this video about tigers. And we really love it. Now you have to think, every single component of this video they created with an iPad. They went back onto their computer, and it probably took them 30 minutes. This is from start to end, okay?
Welcome to Wildlife in Action. Ruben Bailey just brought in this report.
Thank you, Michael. I have been tracking these tigers for 3 days in this hard environment. Yesterday we found tiger footprints and we followed them here to this mountain pass. But as we approached, things took a turn and we had to pull back. Not one, but 2 tigers started to fight. Look, there is one right next to us. Later, we spoke to a local man who told us that the tigers are in fact just playing with each other. Now we know that tigers are indeed social animals. This is Ruben Bailey. Back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Ruben. In our next report, we'll be showing you what it would be like to walk on the moon.
I think that's awesome, okay? And the reason I think it's awesome is because they had no one to help them, okay? Even the leaves to the side and when they see the tiger. And what that tells to me, and I think why Ham's got me here, is to say to you that you need to communicate to this new generation because they want to be on camera, okay? They don't just want to have stuff thrown at them, they want to be on camera. So our video platform allows that to happen, and we do that by combining existing content. So we give them the content, the tiger footprint, and all the footage they need around the world. And we are the biggest educational video library now on the planet. We have over 1 million video files for kids to play, 7,000 music tracks, and loads of other lots of fun tools to put things together. And we own all the footage and all the content, and we spent 5 years building it. So I'm just going to quickly go through just some things about your sector. If my voice sounds funny, I've got a terrible cold, so I apologize for that. So I'm just going to give you some video facts. You might just carry on, Johan, or should I?
Sure. I think my voice is a little better today. There's some really interesting facts, and you've probably seen a lot of these yourselves within your industry. But they're really powerful in what they're telling of how things are changing within our culture, no matter where you are, even outside of Malaysia and United States. The first one, especially if you're looking at there, online video is booming. In the United States alone, viewing videos online have outpaced television viewing. That's a phenomenal feat, especially coming from consumers like Americans, like myself. 52.4 billion online videos in 1 month. Imagine how many hours that is. As marketers, think about the amount of uninterrupted face time you can possibly have. High quality videos. Obviously, as technologies have increased, the quality of the video has become more important. You still have the occasional people taking photographs and videos of themselves with their mobile phones, the selfies. But even the technology is making those simple and instant videos much more relevant with high-definition cameras, for example. Skipping a little down there, over half of 25 to 50-year-olds share video online. It's no longer a consuming of video content. It's the collaboration, it's the sharing, it's the creation, which is really driving a lot of it. It's, if you look at a lot, especially in the media, we are now ourselves reporters.
Okay, and I think the last bit is pretty interesting for everyone here. It's just, what we're looking at is people having problems with actually getting content. Okay, now, when we talk about that, we're a creation site. So we're not trying to stream you or sell or do things that are finished product. We're the point of creation. Now, is the point of creation for your company? Or is the point of creation for a third party? Or is the point of creation for your consumers? when people go to make a video, and we're going to talk about how you tell a story with a video, from my perspective, I'm not saying that everything I say is right, but from my perspective, I find when we used to make these documentaries and do things, things were incredibly expensive. There was a huge amount of outsourcing. The subject matter became very subjective, and everything was incredibly time-consuming. And most of those things don't reflect the modern environment, where everything's meant to be quick, reactive, and obviously budgets are strained. So from our philosophy, when we looked at education, and I'm talking about education a bit here, because I think it's totally relevant for you to understand it. From an education viewpoint, those problems are immense. Budgets are an immense issue. The time a student has in class is an immense issue. The subjective viewpoint is a problem. They're trying to teach a particular topic, a particular subject. So all of those things got us to have a kind of philosophy in the way we wanted to map out our tools to tell a story. And obviously, keep it simple, we all know. Now, the biggest thing is the essence of a story. So here, this is a great old quote we use quite a bit. And basically, people, as you see from my imagery or my work, even in the jungle, everything is a story. When they talk about harvesting, they talk about a story. When they're selling their products in the market, it's a story. Okay, so, you know, often looking back into the past or looking at pure cultures that are relatively untouched, you start to see the way humans communicate. It's all stories. And I wanted to just let you know that, and that's something I had the privilege to see in many remote communities. So, conversation is a story. Conversation is king, maybe more than content. I think that's really the point that we're finding out in the education sector when we're talking and working with teachers and kids. We're finding out that the conversation is king. It's how you have that dialogue, not necessarily all the time what you're seeing. Okay, so here's some facts. Obviously, there's me, was the last sorcerer of the South Pacific. He died a couple of years ago. He was the last sorcerer, if you want to know who he is, looking at a big camera. Human survival depends on our ability to interact. Our need to share information is what defines us. The medium of storytelling is dictated by the age we live in, and the age we live in is video. It's not print. It's not even performance so much. It's very much video right now. Okay. So when we move that forward, it's just becoming a little bit more conceptualized just for a second. So therefore, when you want to tell a story, then you need a narrative, and the narrative is the powerful thing. So the narrative turns that content you think is so valuable, that you're spending millions of dollars getting helicopter shots of Kuala Lumpur and the Twin Towers, all that stuff. It's the narrative that turns that content into story. That is what we're finding is powerful, is the story. The content helps to make the story an experience. So actually the content is about lifestyle. So then you think about it, you think, well, hang on, I'm telling a story, so therefore, if I tell the story, then the content should evoke the experience. The medium, which is video, it just happens to be now. You shouldn't think of video as the new thing. It's just now. It could go back to written word again in 20 years. We don't know. It's just the age we live in. And one of the things we found in education, which may help you, I don't know whether anyone's done statistics or research on that, on this fact, what we found was very interesting, that if you have an educational material to a university student, and you play that educational material again and again and again, a bit like, say, like an advert, what is taken in by that student is less if you say that message in 20 different ways over the same period of time. So our philosophy in terms of democratizing video production, in the sense of allowing students to play with video, allow them to keep that content and that story being refreshed rather than repeated. And we find that very valuable in education. I'm not sure whether that's happening, whether when you're doing your social media campaigns where you're finding doing 20 stories based on a similar subject, giving different angles, is having more effect than just the same driven singular message. Okay. So what is Binumi then? So we'll get back. So that's our philosophy. So that's our sort of story philosophy. That's how we're working with kids. We're trying to bring a concept to play. So so what we're going to do now is just quickly play a 45-second introductory video to Binumi, and you'll get a sense of what we are from doing that. If I can just pull that together. Okay, so let me just get back the PowerPoint back up. So you saw some of the content there, right? We were hoping to be on the internet today, just on Wi-Fi, because we could actually make a movie of this presentation while we're here, while we were here. So literally, you can make a video in 5 or 10 minutes. And the way we do that is we concentrate on 3 steps, which is the imagination of the idea, the creation process of doing it, and the sharing. Johan, I'll let you have a little go at this.
Traditionally, and Anthony touched upon this before, looking at the way that productions normally take place and the costs and the time and the resources involved. And for any of you who have actually been involved with the production side of a campaign or a marketing or a commercial, you know the time and the effort that goes into it, the revisions that have to go into it, the coordination between graphic designers and production, and even the media agents. It's a very lengthy, very, let's say, a large barrier for a lot of companies out there to be able to engage in conversation using video. And what we see is that if you're able to amalgamate and condense all that in a very simple and very easy way, having content, having an editor, and be able to provide the power of that really within the person who has the idea inside your minds, instead of having to communicate that to a team member, you're able to express your ideas. If you're making a video, why not express that idea in video so that you have not losing something within the communication there. Being able to get immediate feedback and collaborate, and the speed at which you're able to turn around and interact with your audience is instantaneous. And nowadays, especially with our communication and our mobility, that instantaneous communication is critical.
Okay, so all that stuff you know, right? We know you know that. We know you know video facts, and you know the stuff, and you're the experts. Okay, so what do we think were the building blocks of some of these steps for you to be able to possibly create more video internally within your offices, or even by your consumers? And we're very interested in that secondary idea. So we give over 1 million royalty-free clips, okay, including over 7,000 audio tracks. We own every single clip. We spent 5 years filming around the world, and we did that. Okay. We offer on the site online editing, right? So basically, it's just drop and drag. So your footage is there. So if you want to make a clip of Everest, you get Everest footage, you drop it in. Okay. We have some really, really cool features like autofill. So you pick your subject, you autofill. It fills it up for you. We even have auto edit. So you press auto edit, and it cuts the clip to the music that you've chosen. Right? It's a kind of magic piece of technology, and you start to have this syncopated video, whatever. So for social media campaigns, it's fantastic because you're getting to the point now where what is critical is the idea. What is the story you're trying to tell? Not necessarily the technique and the process or the dealing with the third party to make the video. So we've built those online editing tools so that 8-year-olds can use it, okay? But actually, it's incredibly powerful when you look at the way they look at it. So what we discovered was simple things like this, like in Thailand, they don't like to search, right? It's just bizarre. They don't like to search. They hate searching, using search words. Probably a language thing to some degree. But what they like to do is browse. They like to play and browse. Whereas in Singapore, they like to search. They like to know what they're going for. So in adapting to those needs, we found really cool ways of finding content, like color. We want to do a video that's kind of reddish, so it's all red. Or we want a video, everything's got to be shot from a car, so the camera was on a car. And we went into that detail to give students and teachers fun with video creation. Okay? And we did that all on the cloud. So there's no software, there's no installation, there's nothing, it's all cloud, it's just browser. And we also obviously have to create all the storage. So on everything you're doing, all the files you're working on, it's all stored there. There's no problem with like you losing stuff, it's automatically saved all the time. With the collaboration tools, what we're able to do was create an idea where your edit line, your timeline, the story that you're creating, you can share at any process in the creative time, during as you're making it. So let's say you create the first 20 seconds and your co-worker has a better idea. You ping it to them, they carry on editing. They ping it back to you, you carry on editing. Drop and drag. Okay. For storyboarding, which I think is very valuable, I mean, I think a lot of people here will be thinking quality, quality, quality. But getting to the point of you spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on your campaign, forget the media buy, just on the production. Shouldn't the authors of your work be sensing the moving image component of what they're writing? Shouldn't the copywriters be getting a sense of what the visual imagery is? So even in that very simplistic storyboarding, you're now dropping images in that are reflecting the concept. The concept's being handed around from various creatives thinking, no, the concept could be this way, it could be that way. It opens a whole load of doors. And the way that's done is not technical. It's not, you're not trying to be Steven Spielberg. You're trying to be someone who has a fantastic idea and how to communicate with your audience. And trust me, we're seeing it. We're at the coalface of this new audience. They're not interested. I promise you, they're not interested in anything anymore. The teachers are sitting there, they're getting 3 or 4 minutes of observation time. The second that they put themselves in the video, it all changes. So for those kids doing the story on tigers, they'd never even heard of, some of those mountains where they were using footage from. But after making that video, the capacity for learning those subjects was unbelievable. Okay. So a lot of that, we believe a lot of it, what we found in education, again, what we found was confidence. Right? And the thing is, when someone says, oh, it's all very well, this guy, he has a TV background, he knows what he's doing, blah, 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 he can make a video and there's no way I can do it. Well, it's all about confidence. The moment you have confidence with the story you're telling and you believe you can do something with video, it's unbelievable what you get. And that's what this platform tries to do. It tries to say, it gives you confidence because it takes away the drama. It takes away the drama of going, well, I don't have that particular shot. Well, don't worry. But I want to put myself in it, then upload it. I want this music, not that music. Change it. It all becomes drop and drag and click and click and click. Okay? It just becomes a notepad. So it's like a video notepad. Just tell your story in video. It's like a souped-up PowerPoint, okay? It's not trying to replace your incredible creatives who make incredible programming or incredible production for your commercials. It's not trying to replace that. It's just trying to give power back to the author, okay? So we're going to show you an example of a student who was 17 years old. He was at Bangkok University. I was 18. Was he 18? 18. He was studying media, okay? So he was studying media, but this industry, which is why we pulled this out. And this kid, he doesn't want to learn about techniques about making video. He's not interested in the techniques of video. What he wanted to do, he wants to be a brand manager. So he wants to understand what his product is and the way he wants to communicate. And his teacher said to him, okay, what we're testing today is we want you to make a commercial video on Bangkok. So we want you to go away and we want you to make commercial in Bangkok. And he was set 2 weeks, the whole class was set to 2 weeks. He made this campaign in 45 minutes, okay? And he's going to go somewhere, this kid. He's going to show you what he did. We thought it was really smart. That's pretty cool. So the thing is with that video is that student who made that video, I mean, he didn't have anything. So that is, every piece of footage is from the library, the music, everything. Everything he did just completely on the platform. So we don't have access to internet today, so otherwise we'd literally quickly show you how easy it is to do it and the way we've developed the techniques to do it. But what we're going to do is quickly show you how where do I have that? I'll quickly show you how he made that video in fast forward, okay? To give you a feeling of the site. And I'm just going to let Johan, who's my COO, who's going to just talk you through the techniques of how he did it as we play it.
What you see on the screen now is really trying to bridge the gap between content and the concept. So we created this topic mapping where people, they want to interact, they know what they want to show, but they don't necessarily know how to represent that with video. Because video is a moving image and there's so many components, there's so much content there, that what we did is we decided to create a mapping where they look for the concept, the topic, and we have gone by as filmmakers and mapped that to imagery and moving video that relates and can communicate that particular topic.
Okay, so that's how he did it. So in that sense, that's actually quite a serious way of making a video on the site. There are lots and lots of shortcuts to do stuff. So so where are we in education? So what's happened to us since we came up with this concept and we're in this sector? incredibly fragmented industry. It's unbelievable. I never imagined it to be this bizarre. Thousands of people in powerful, coveted positions, looking after little corners of schools and pockets of populations in various countries. Okay, so what's happened to us? Well, we're the world's largest educational video platform. Okay. We created topic maps. So what we did, we understood what teachers needed. They needed to cross-reference their content needs to their curriculum. Incredibly complicated. So we created a hive, a three-dimensional way of looking at content. And we're now looking at new sectors. So we're now looking at sectors like health. Why should a doctor write a note to his patient? Okay? So we created the concept of grouping content into digestible amounts in the industry that you need. So imagine what that means to you for banking and finance groups who require certain amounts of content to be delivered instantaneously at the time. It can be automated. It doesn't necessarily need to be this arduous video production every time for your messaging or your conversations with your clients. Obviously, teacher resources. We created templates. So we think it's very valuable for learning processes and communication in terms of interdepartmental things. So for instance, we can record me talking for 1 minute. You upload, and this is seriously how it works. You record me on an iPhone for 1 minute. You upload it. You choose a subject like mountains. You autofill the mountains. You put me where you want me to be speaking, and you press auto-edit. And all the clips around me become this beautiful little kind of auto-edited little film, and it comes to me and I talk perfectly for that 1 minute. So in terms of any type of presentation, CEO presentations, any type of training, any type of service industry becomes applicable and makes it a lot of these things very simple. And it allows the people who control that part of the industry to be able to do it. And that's the key thing we're finding in education. There's no point trying to keep on delivering product to these people like teachers who are specialized unless the teacher themselves is doing the creating. Okay? Flipped classroom, I don't know if anyone knows, but it's a really exciting new form of educating where kids actually teach. They take control of the classroom and the teacher sits down. It's a lot of fun and stuff. And we do everything in language. So for instance, in Malay, the whole experience of our whole site's in Malay, including searching for your clips in Malay. We're just going to talk about cost, right? Just sorry to be a bit get down to cost. But I just want to give you a feeling like we in education are very simple. So we own the content, so we have control. We're not servicing other people's content. We own it. So this is exactly the same type of shot from Getty, and this is a shot from our library of penguins. And everything you do on our site's unlimited. So basically you can have as much access, download as much, make as many videos as you want. There's no limitation. And we're now looking at the commercial sector. Say, how does that work, right? And we're thinking of pricing it something ridiculous like that for a year. So that's a whole year, 1 million shots versus 1 shot from Getty. So just give you a feeling, and that gives you a commercial use of footage, okay, or music, or clips. So come talk to us, okay? The only other thing I want to sort of end on, and sorry if I've been a bit sore-throaty and sounding terrible, but I came originally when I was young from the music industry. So I spent many years traveling the world working in music. And for much of that time, I watched the disparity between the industry and the consumers. I remember sitting in conferences like this, listening to the heads of these record companies saying, kids want a physical product, guys. They want a physical CD. They want to hold it and look at the pictures. I heard it again and again and again. And I got out of the music industry. I went, no, these guys are not seeing what's coming. You know, this is kind of crazy. And during that process of doing my wild trips into the jungle, which I self-funded, Nat Geo and various TV companies started following me, this crazy English guy going to these places. And that actually, you know, started a whole set of programs like Tribe on the BBC. They all started having these people going into the jungles. I was one of the first people to do that. And I started working a lot on TV. And the same thing, after a few years of working, 10 years of working in TV, I started to see, yeah, but the kids are not watching so much TV anymore. They're starting to they want to sense they have control over what they're viewing. They want to have a conversation with what they're doing. What are you doing? You know, can we can we go and conversate them? Shouldn't we be doing some things where we make interactive programming? Shouldn't we be having some conversation? Yet again, YouTube is born, and as you've seen the figures, it's incredible. And I have to say, in all the schools in all the regions we're going to, we very rarely see students watching TV. In fact, I don't think they even know how to turn them on anymore. It's just straight away on their iPad and their computer. It's really, for us, we're seeing real drastic changes. And the same with education. In education, we see this tried and tested same philosophy. We've got printed materials. We've been researching molecular science for the last 50 years, and we sell them for $25,000 each journal. And we have the same arguments with them going, yeah, but it's going to change, isn't it? Because at some point, if you look around you, everyone is doing selfies. And what is that all about? Why are people taking pictures of themselves? It's just incredible. Why are they doing that? And they're doing that because they want to become celebrities, or they want to feel like it's theirs. They want to feel like they are doing the talking. So what we're looking at in our next generation of development, we're looking at apps that automate that opportunity. So you arrive in a location, you want to make a video postcard. Bang, Binumi. Hi, Mum. Done. We've even been talking to various advertising companies, just conversation conceptually. We had a couple of conversations wouldn't it be great, you've got, the kids, the parents, they kind of want a BMW, right? So wouldn't it be great that they can drive the BMW before they buy it, or before they even go and look at it? So what would we like to have a lifestyle with BMW before we have it? So where do you live? I live in the mountains. Okay, are you, what kind of things do you like? Well, I like being kind of fast, I'm racy, and you just give a few conditions, and suddenly you're having automated movies that we're creating in our automated process and inserting them. Just take a picture of you behind a wheel. Suddenly they're having videos and stuff. So in this testing we're doing, we're now looking for commercial companies that may be interested in talking to us to say, we're not looking for clients, we're not looking for people to buy our service. We're just looking to say, how could what we've learned in education be powerful and useful for your industry? And why don't you come and talk to us, and why don't we test some things? Why don't you test it? Why don't we test what happens when we give the opportunity of video creation to hundreds of your consumers? We were talking to a marketing research guy, I'm not sure he was. And we were saying, marketing research, how valuable is that to be video? To see the emotion of someone telling you what you're doing. Even your client seeing what they're saying with their body language is much more powerful than 77%, blah, 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 66%. So there's so many ways that, our platform going forward is applicable. We're doing it very slowly. We're very committed to our education sector. And we like it because it has parameters. We know what the curriculum is. It gives us our topic map. We know what videos we need. But in marketing, it's actually the same. Because in some senses, in your sector, cars do certain things, banks do certain things. You need certain types of content. We create thousands of animations, graphs, financial graphs. So how can we make that a conversation for your consumers? Okay, so I want to say thanks to Ham again. I hope I've had some relevancy to what you're doing. We've tried to change our normal conversation to you to talk a bit more about marketing and advertising. And thank you for Johan, who's been helping me because I'm a bit sick. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Take care.